Hello everybody, I'm Mr. McSquare and this is Organic Minecraft. Wow, things are a little off this week, so kick back and relax and enjoy some good Minecraft YouTubing. We're going to start off with the first thing that's off for me. This is the forge that I put together last week, and I had villagers. I put villagers in here. I wasn't sure about the security of this area. And my villagers, yeah, there they are. Zombified. Zombified and not having a good time. I knew this was a risk. And I thought, well, you know, let's just go with it. I had a lazy moment. And sure enough, my villagers got zombified. And I'm sure that the rotten flesh the guy was holding was the other villagers. Okay, so what happened? I had an open sky concept here, and you can see the edges have potential. Yeah, thanks for your work, security golem. The edges have potential that it just zombies got in. So let's just cover that up a bit. Now they got a little bit of a canopy. Still feels fairly open, but it's covered from unwanted visitors. Yeah, you down there with the frickin' Steve's clothes zombie. Anyway. So, they're safe and I can repopulate this place later. Just a little awning, that's all it took. Alright, moving on. Okay. Yeah. More golems are popping as more villagers are being added. And this is a couple days later, bit of a Minecraft time skip. And the villagers are here, they're all fine, there's no zombies bouncing around. Okay. That bamboo awning kept the unwanted visitors out, and the villagers are fine. Okay, this area is good. Nice. And everything is just the way it's supposed to be. No surprises. Good to go. This section here is my forge. It's got my weaponsmith, toolsmith armor. 2 of each of them. Okay. In the last episode, built some farms, and there they are. And now we're adding on to this area. I'm gonna add 2 things today, or at least 2 things in this video. It took me about a week. The first thing is wool. Collected a bunch of sheep, pretty simple. Got a bunch of sheep here, but wool comes, there's 16 colors in Minecraft, and I'll link a quick little short if you're curious on how to get the different colors. I'll link a short in the description below. But for now, we have to set up automatic sheep farms. Okay. So back over there, you can see I've got one set up. We'll take you back there and show you the generic standard Minecraft sheep farm. So I just stick them back here, and that's one cell. You can see that it's working away. You've got a sheep that gets sheared. Whoop, I was standing too close so I caught the wool, but otherwise it falls right down into a hopper below and gets collected. And there's tons of videos out there on how to make these, so I'll just quickly show you. Duplicating the cell once, and then we'll just skip forward to having all the cells done up. Handy dandy silk touch pickaxe. Okay, and I counted it out and measured it, and it's going to fit 2 rows of 8, and we'll adjust the size of the pen as I pull sheep out of it and put them into the cells and make room. Blah blah blah. For now, you have to make a shelf for an observer and then a small trench next to it, which will be 2 deeper than the observer. 1 depth for a hopper, a 2nd depth for chests. So the observer sits on that ledge and stares at the grass, and it fires when the grass grows. Or rather, the grass gets eaten. Because when the grass gets eaten by a sheep, that's when the sheep grows the wool. When the sheep grows the wool, that's the right time to shear it. Okay. Wrong orientation. Make sure that the observer, the face and eyes of the observer are facing towards the block of grass that's going to get eaten. Okay, like so. There's the face. And we'll just put some grass behind it. Got to put a piece of redstone dust to connect the observer, which will send a signal out when the grass changes, up to a dispenser. There you are, dispenser. And again, make sure that the dispenser mouth is facing towards the sheep, because it's basically going to dispense a shears, and by dispensing a shears, it's basically using the shears, which will shear the sheep and cause the wool to fly up, and then the wool can be collected. So we'll stick a chest down below. Okay, hopper. And we had to have that extra gap because in order to pull an object through a solid dirt block, we've got to use a hopper minecart. The hopper minecart sits on top of the rails, and then it's able to pull through the block. And I can't swear to it, but I think what's happening is the rails are just a couple pixels tall, and because the minecart is sitting on top of the rails, it's technically 2 pixels into the dirt block, which enables it to reach whatever's on top of the dirt block. Like if you use a standard hopper, which sits below the dirt block, it won't reach. But the tip of the top of the minecart, when it's on rails, is just a tiny bit taller and gives it a tiny bit more reach. Anyway, got the cell built, and it is important to have grass blocks underneath the glass that's adjoining the block that gets eaten, because grass spreads and it needs somewhere to spread from. So by having that the eating block surrounded by other full grass blocks, you're giving more opportunities for the grass to regrow and be faster. So essentially, it's surrounded on 3 sides instead of just on 1 side of having grass. So grass will grow 3 times faster than it would if only 1 grass block was touching it. And if no grass blocks were touching it, as soon as the sheep eats the block, you're left with just dirt. And dirt by itself does not grow grass. You need grass next to it. Okay, so there's the cell. And just waiting for it to fire. Dyed it gray. You can't dye a sheared sheep. The sheep has to have the wool on his back in order to color it. Okay, we'll shear it once just so that we're encouraging them to eat the grass as soon as it's there and get the cycle going. And everything will drop down below. Simple, simple, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Similarly, grass does need a light source to grow. And I'll swap these out for lanterns at the end, but for now we'll just put some torches there so that might as well be harvesting wool while we're building more cells. And Really just repeating the process over and over again. 16 times. And no, I'm not going to sit here and waste your valuable viewer time just watching me doing the same thing over and over again repeatedly. But you get the point. You set it up, repeat, and then dye them. Nope, I'll have to fix that later. Okay, got the farm set up. This pen over here on my right will be for mushrooms later. Problem for another day. And then I replaced all the lighting with lanterns in the immediate area. You'll notice there's no more torches along the walls and stuff. I just threw up some lampposts. Super basic design. And in the ground here, the lamppost didn't fit, so I just bloody well stuck a torch in the ground and put a slab on top of it. And because it's a partial block, it still emits its light. No problem. But hides it. Pretty it up a bit. And you can see I carry on the lantern theme everywhere. I've got a few torches to address later. Just haven't decided if I'm sticking them in the floor or I'm going to stick a lamp or something on that side yet. Haven't decided. But we've gone with lanterns all the way down the pathway. Okay, so there's one more thing we're going to add in today's video, and that's a big piece of artwork. Got all of our 16 different sheep color, which is excellent. And in the future I want to build airships, and that's going to take just a ton of colored wool. Maybe some terracotta. A terracotta farm would be really good to augment these too. Yeah, all the colors of terracotta. Oh, future projects. Of note, I add a little ladder down here because you can fall down or things happen. And just that little bit of ladder lets you get out and you can still open and close the chest. Alrighty. And my favorite part, I get to take that off my to-do list. Sheep farm, sheep farm, sheep farm. There you are. Sheep farm. Nice. That every time feels good. Feels good getting that off the list, and I'll have to add terracotta farm to the list later. Okay. So, like I said, I've got a big art project now. And that's the whole thing with the starter base. The essentials are basically taken care of. So now I can move on to the aesthetics. Added a couple of footbridges over the waterway. And then I was thinking, with this whole cavern complex, I was thinking about Lord of the Rings and Mariah and delving too deeply. Yeah, delving too deeply. Oh, Balrog. Well, not going to make a Balrog, but we're going to put something here. Something that says we might be digging a little bit deep. So, Tolkien inspired. Okay. Creature from the depths. Maybe a big lava pool. A lava pool with a copper monster. Yeah, that'll be nice. First I was thinking copper dragon, but now I don't know. Everybody does dragons. Let's do something different. Something's a little bit off in the caverns. There's a monster down there. So that's just going to be the base area that I'm going to build around. I'm also going to terraform the cave a bit and shape it so that we get a good view of the beast. There we go. We're changing up the hole and squaring it up and making it a bit more deliberate. We'll also shape the walls, make them smooth them out, fill in the back tunnels. And instead of wax copper blocks, we're using cut copper blocks. And the only difference is that for the cut ones, I can make stairs and slabs and other shapes. Whereas the raw blocks, I'm just stuck with cubes. And if you want to build with cubes, that's fine, but then your structure becomes way bigger if you want to do any details. And because we're in a cavern system, I'm a little bit constrained on how much space I have. So I have to build a sculpture that fits the space. We'll start with the body and head, or rather like the arms, shoulders, chest area, and the head. And I'm gonna cheat and put him in a big pile of lava so I don't have to do his lower body. Don't have to do legs or tails or anything below the waist. We'll have him coming out of the lava pool. Yeah, having him coming out of the lava pool with just his upper body. And then for continuity, I will make another, like more of these things in the nether. I found a piglin fortress, which is a whole lot of blackstone, and it has a large central area that I think I'll put like another one of these, let's call them demons, fire demons. Yeah, we'll put another fire demon down in the nether. Fire demon running the piglins. Yes. Okay, these are his shoulders. And this is generally known as wiring, where you're just putting the basic outline of what's going on. And then added to the outline, you'll add the details. Gives me the general size and shape of the body. You can make it out like just visualizing very roughly. We got his left arm, his right arm, and his center torso. And we're just gonna add a little, shape a little, and not forget to light things up before the creepers come and reset the build. Right. So we got a left arm, got him reaching out of the pool over to the shoreline. He's going to need more back. And we'll just, if we need to add more, we'll add a little more. If we need to take some off, we'll chisel some out. It's Minecraft. If you can imagine it, you can probably get it done. This really reminds me of playing with Lego when I was a kid. And there's part of me that just does not want to grow up. Okay. So I don't want both of his arms to come out straight. So we'll put a curve to this side. And in order to do that, we're going to have to put in an angle. So overall, I want his arms to be roughly the same length, but to take different directions. And as he gets bigger, he's going to need a larger hole to fit. I do like using copper because it really blends well with lava. And when you put the two together, you'll see that, just keep in mind, and hopefully it's a close enough blend you don't even notice, but copper plus lava, that palette really works well together. Need some more room for his arm here. Okay, so shaped out some more rock, made the hole he's emerging rather. Okay, made the hole that he's emerging out of just a little bigger. The torches were just a way to measure his arms to make sure that they were roughly the same length. Why torches? Because they're easy to remove. So at the end of his arms, he's going to need hands or claws or something. And I really don't have a plan in mind. I'm just feeling it out as I go. Whoop. I'm thinking he's reaching out and his fingers are like claws that are grabbing off to the side as he pulls himself out of the lava. And a thumb. Yeah. We'll give him a thumb. So that's the back of his hand there. These are temporary. Doo-doo-doo. And he needs a little bit more on the thumb. Like so. Okay. Okay, cut myself some slack. We're dealing with cubes. That will do for his clawed hand. And we'll just mirror that on both sides. His thumb. And his clawed fingers. As I'm putting this down, I'm thinking, okay, for claws, maybe some bone or quartz. Quartz we can make stairs out of, and that's white. Diorite's another option. Just because I want him to have white claws. And thinking about what I've got in storage, I'm going to probably go with quartz. Because I don't think bone blocks can be shaped into stairs. So... yeah. Okay. We'll use some nice dark color to give him like a bearded, hairy mane. So can't help but think about Tolkien's Balrog and some people like some of the big movies that are out there and their interpretations of it. It's like an icon of our fantasy myths. And there's no way I'm going to imitate it exactly. I've got too many limitations with our build palettes here. And I don't think I've got that much art talent. But definitely inspired by the imagery that we grow up with. We'll try some stairs. We'll try some different things. Might even need more copper there. Just blending it from chest to like a throat up to a toothy maw. Yeah, give him some jaw. And we'll have lava dripping out of his mouth. So because lava is going to drip out of his mouth is going to be a bit longer. Yeah, curve up his jawline. Can't have his jaw run forever. He's not an alligator. Quartz for teeth and claws and bone. Full block would be too much, so we'll use partial blocks, slabs, stairs. Give him some teeth. No. Looks a bit tusky. Tusky's not bad. Except I want teeth. I think Tusk would protrude out the side of his mouth. Teeth would be within the mouth. And I want teeth. Okay, we'll have to leave a channel in the inside because we're going to lava it. Funny thing, water, if you put water onto a half block, you'll see the water, what do they call that, flooding it or saturating it or waterlogging it, and lava doesn't do that. You can't waterlog things with lava. The lava occupies a full square. But we can give it some channels so that the lava will flow. Change the orientation of these front teeth. And by changing the orientation of the front teeth, you're giving the jaw a better shape. So he's got a big bottom jaw, but it's a fantasy creature, so we can do what we want. And the good thing too, by not having a template, is I've got full freedom of creativity just to feel it out and see what fits. Some redstone to mark his throat. It's a good color for the back of his throat, yeah. Gave him square teeth for his molars at the back side. Don't want him to have a hairy mouth, so we'll copper the throat lining. And don't get too worried about details that you will never see. But his mouth is open, so from certain angles, if you look down his throat, I want you to see the red and the copper. And then his top set of teeth. Want them not to be completely in line with the lower set. So we'll offset. Slabs! Need more slabs. There they are. Lots of slabs. Thanks to the trial chambers providing us with tons of copper. I love the trial chambers. They are a resource mine. Okay, I think that's in line there. And then if I put it, just these cubes are temporary, just so I can stick a front set of teeth out there. And I'm going to use a stair, and I need the stair oriented downwards, so some temporary blocks to pull that off. Get rid of the temporaries. Okay, those square blocks, I'll replace them later with stairs, but for now, he's got the blocks. To me, I'm seeing an alligator mouth, but that's okay. We're not done yet. It's got a bit of a snout. A toothy smell. I'll give him a black nose, too. Yeah, it would have been nice if I could think of a way to put a gold ring through his nose, but nothing comes to mind with the blocks we have to use. No jewelry for you, sir. Just lava. Round his snout out a bit. Like a dog's maw. And using blackstone, again, because blackstone makes slabs, makes walls, makes stairs, which just gives me more options for sculpting. Oh, okay. And we'll be back in a moment after he's gone. Where'd you go, you teleporting bugger? There you go. Okay, back to building. His mane is a little bit flat. We'll thicken it up as we go on. Top of his mouth there. Okay, his eyes should be around this area here. Not liking that block. We'll, I think, replace it with something that glows. Bulbs, probably. I think a sea lantern's a little too bright, but a copper bulb might be the winner. Dark stripe down his face. Also gives it a little bit more contour instead of it just being flat and square. Not liking that block. But gotta try it before you know. Okay. Now we have to go from the nose to the eyes. Yeah, I'll have to turn those on, so make a button later. Yeah, he's gonna need a thicker mane out the back of his head. Yeah, right now I see a dog. Okay. Okay, and we'll blend his hand into his arm a bit. We'll make the color flow and just fade it in instead of having it like, okay, copper ends here, black ends there. No, let's give it a stepped approach, and might even be able to tie his mane all the way down his arm. Yeah, that would work. So you can see he's got his quartz fingertips and fingernails and claws. But we'll need a little bit more black stone to fill out the other parts. I think one of my smarter choices too was, with the exception of 2 redstone blocks for his throat, I only used 3 colors. I used black from black stone, copper, and a bit of quartz for highlight. And by keeping your color palette simple, it doesn't get too busy. The brain can process it a little easier. Okay, that's kind of the point where his hair is overlapping onto the shore, and when we put lava in, hopefully that'll blend it. Okay, let's give him a set of horns. Yeah, let's beast up the beast. The question is how far to make the horns. Let's put it right behind the eye. That'll do. Yeah! Okay. We'll get his horns pointing forward. Playing with some stairs. Orient them a little differently. Try out a couple things. Look at it from a distance and check our answers. It's not quite what I want. Not quite it. Close, but I think I can do just a little better than that. Well, at least the horns help a lot from him looking less like a dog and more like some kind of a beast. Getting a Minotaur feel to him. And I'm alright with that. Okay. Try that again. 3 stairs and a slap. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, that's the win. That's the winner. He's a little off, he's a little cartoony, but he's mine. I like him. I'm liking what I'm seeing. You know, I asked my wife for some feedback and I said, he looks a little cartoony. And she said, well, you're using giant cubes. It's hard not to look cartoony. Okay, fair enough. So cutting myself some slack. Yeah, he's a little cartoony, but definitely noticeable. Give him a little hair on his chinny chin chin. A little I want your soul patch. There it is. And I think we just gotta flame him up now with some lava. Doing lava last because don't want to work around lava. Yeah, his front 2 teeth, I'll have to change that out to a stair later. Okay, so that's basically him. But let's fire him up. Let's get some lava in here. Okay, we'll get it pouring out there and there. Lava doesn't quite flow the same as water, but it's similar. Okay. That'll do. And then we'll just have to fill the lava into the pool around him. Like so. There, he's got lava flowing out of his mouth like he's emerging out of it. Swims with his mouth open. Dirty mouth breather. Anyway. Emerges out. And he's not happy. Perhaps we dug too deeply. Anyway, he's a little cartoony, but I like him. Shoot me a comment and let me know what you honestly think of him. He's got his black lines around his arms. Yeah, just little highlights. That flows into his mane. And I think I just saved myself a lot of work by having him coming out of the pool instead of worrying about what his lower body looks like. Yeah. It's not perfect, but the idea is there. You got a beast coming out. You dug too deep. Well, long episode. Thank you for joining me. If you're still here, please hit those buttons. Till next time. Bye-bye.